People like you always want to be the hero. The problem with being a hero is you have to be willing to die for what you believe in. If I were you, I wouldn't try so hard. You'll live longer.
What's up, guys and girls? It's Ghost Robo. Titanfall 2 has officially descended into our atmosphere. This morning, EA and Respawn revealed the first ever trailer for Titanfall 2, showing off some good stuff and revealing a lot of details. The entire game will be revealed on June 12th, which is a Sunday in summer, the date of EA's own separate press conference. It's E3 week, the Sunday before E3. Sunday is going to be EA's conference and convention open to the public, and will also obviously attract the eyes of press and media. Bethesda has their show on Sunday night, and then Monday hosts Nintendo and Microsoft, Sony, Ubisoft, and the likes. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 14th through 16th is the actual E3 convention. Going to be a really interesting and exciting, crazy time of year, especially with some of these splinter shows popping up like you're seeing from EA, as well as studios like Activision dropping out of the main E3 show floor. But back to Titanfall 2, I am super pumped, and I think this could be a mega hit for 2016. All signs point to this game dropping fall of 2016, which is really, really exciting and interesting, and bodes well, I think, for both Respawn and Titanfall 2. Shorter cycles end up usually working well, especially for games that struggled with variety and lack of content. If you remember Titanfall 1, that game sold exceptionally well, over 10 million copies. So from a financial standpoint, huge success. From a player base and sort of longevity standpoint, not so much. Lack of weapon variety, no single-player campaign to speak of, and lack of a feeling that you were really making a difference. Sure, everyone could get in and contribute, kill some NPCs, take down a few pilots, grab their Titan, but what was your reward for doing awesome, for being amazing, for being on top the leaderboard? Didn't really seem like a whole lot, and there wasn't really a lot of progression either to fuel the hours forward above and beyond prestige, or whatever they called when you would level up your pilot to the max. Now, I thought the game had incredible environments, really fun and fast gameplay, and probably the best futuristic controls / movement system of any of its competitors. I like what they did there just as much or more than Black Ops 3, and I think the idea of Titans was a good one. Now, after the game released and sort of beyond its hype cycle, they did add more modes, some Titan versus Titan competitive modes that were really fun, as well as a Horde-style mode that was pretty cool. But I don't think that, even though Titanfall never gained the traction of like a Call of Duty or Battlefield, I don't think it lost too much mindshare. I think people are still willing to give the brand a chance, and that's where I think Titanfall 2 can super succeed, because we know they're adding a single player. We know that they have an interesting lore and world. You saw like dinosaurs and monsters off in the distance on some of the Titanfall 1 maps, so surely that will be incorporated here. They've got a great developer behind them, and like we said, what was there was quality. It really was a tight, well-made package. There just wasn't enough of it, and they made some missteps along the way, especially how they marketed and sort of weaseled their way through, oh, we're gonna have a campaign, but actually it's just the multiplayer maps, and you have to be online, and it's really nothing, and it's just some voiceover before the multiplayer map, blah. Now they have an actual single player. Now they're multi-platform, so that 10 million units sold for Titanfall 1 will definitely balloon here, now coming to more consoles and just a much bigger base, right? The audience for PS4 and Xbox One has grown exponentially since Titanfall 1 was released. Plus, the power of these consoles has been more unlocked, so you have to imagine this game is going to look stunning. Now, it's an interesting year for EA because at this show on June 12th, they will inevitably be revealing Mass Effect Andromeda, Titanfall 2, Battlefield 5, and more. All signs from their investor calls point to Titanfall 2 launching this fall, which is super great and super cool. I think a shorter cycle benefits this game for many reasons. reasons. One, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't run into the problem that Titanfall 1 did, where people were so hyped for it, and then the beta sort of stole all the thunder from the actual game. And 3, a game that struggled with variety now has a chance to come in as sort of a surprise, a stealth release, if you will, as stealth as we're going to get in 2016, right? A 6-month cycle or a 5-month cycle would be incredible. Now, there is a chance this game does slip to 2017, but from all that I've read, all that I know, all the rumors that I've parsed through, I don't think they're going to launch Andromeda and Titanfall 2 in Q1 of 2017. And in fact, it looks like Titanfall 2 will be the one that drops in 2016. Possibly alongside Battlefield 5. Now, that's an interesting battle within the same publisher, but maybe they fulfill slightly different spaces in the shooter market, or maybe they think they can exist together. There's no real Halo game this year outside of Halo Wars 2, which is a totally different genre, so perhaps Titanfall can fill that slot, Battlefield can fill the Call of Duty slot, and maybe they're hoping that Call of Duty being back on sort of what some people would consider the off year with the Ghost developer will be a dud, and people will instead opt for more realistic Battlefield combat and more crazy Titanfall combat. Now, all signs point to Call of Duty going even more space age with a space-based shooter, so we'll have to see how that all plays out. But Titanfall 2, it's ripe for extreme success. Assassin's Creed 2, Uncharted 2. You look at these games that had impressive but flawed first outings and then were able to really fully realize that concept with the sequel. And that's what I expect and hope and really think is going to happen for Titanfall 2. A lot of times I'm very weary of sequels. I'm worried about how they're going to come together, especially in the shooter space, but Titanfall 2 is one that I think the foundation was so darn solid on 1, being the first game, really, that Respawn had ever made. You know, there's a lot of there's a huge learning curve there, I'm sure. There's just little things that probably take time to really establish and build the foundation for, and now they can build off of that for Titanfall 2 rather than have to figure it all out. Plus, the fact that they learned so many lessons from feedback and from the evolving game market over the last couple of years, I think this will go on to be the best shooter of 2016. Just the developer pedigree, the game concept, and some cool stuff that we're seeing. They have incredibly enticing environments. We see a jungle-type setting in this trailer, and like I mentioned, Titanfall 1's maps were really eclectic and really beautiful. It also seems like now there's a Titan with a giant blade, increasing the variety and hopefully the arsenal of the Titans. I think the more of those that you have, and maybe even tiering them up, would be kind of cool. I want there to be much more progression and skill-based reward in this game. Now, let's talk a little bit about what we really hope to see from Titanfall 2, and you guys can let me know in the comments below what you want to see from this game. Number one, a great single player. I think that's something that's really lacking lately. We saw Quantum Break come out and really turn some heads with an excellent single player linear storyline. Now, Call of Duty does do it every year, but I feel like that's a little bit too much shooter gallery for me, and I would like to see something a little more set-piece driven, finely crafted. And I know Call of Duty has done really well lately. The Advanced Warfare campaign I thought was really strong, and Black Ops 3 was pretty good as well. But it still feels like you're on a roller coaster ride. And there's nothing to tell us that Titanfall 2 won't be that same way. But I'm hoping with their commitment to environment design, maybe they will increase our opportunity to explore, or maybe increase the lore and story, or maybe increase the mission variety, something that pushes it a bit beyond the traditional FPS single player. So that's the number one thing I want to see. Number two is really great weapon design and player progression. We need a lot of variety from the weapons, the grenades. The consumable cards was a great idea the first time around. I'm not sure if they were the very first people to do that, but that's become a popular idea. We saw it just last week in the Doom multiplayer beta, but it's something cool and adds fun and kind of, you know, it's like the Halo 5 Rec Pack, the Hearthstone opening of packs. You get cool cards and then you get to use them, and it's just a really popular idea with Clash Royale and mobile games as of late. So if they can find a way to better incorporate that and then give you different skills and suits and Titans, and hopefully some sort of skill-based kill streak or reward for blasting 5, 6, 7, 8 pilots in a row, that would be really great. I think there needs to be a longevity given to the multiplayer that pushes those obsessive shooter players to really want to keep prestiging, keep playing, and keep pouring hours into Titanfall 2. The third thing I think it needs is hopefully a little bit more personality from the characters and from the Titans. I think the Titans looked really cool, but we've seen plenty of mechs before and since Titanfall 1, and it would be great to see if they could add a little bit of almost Transformers-like personality without getting cheesy. I don't want them to have, voiced characters that have goofy, nicknames, but I think there needs to be some iconic characters or some iconic design with the Titans or with the pilots, or maybe with some new breed of something to almost give it kind of that Gears of War Halo feel where you draw an attachment to the universe, not to be just because it's pretty or plays well, but because you like what you see and you think the characters are cool and you want to be a part of that world. And one of the best ways to do that is by building some sort of player attachment to the characters that you see. Fourth, I think it needs to nail movement and possibly add something new to that space. We've seen Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3 do their take on futuristic movement. Titanfall possibly did it the best. I really love their boost system, their wall running. It felt super organic. We're going to get Mirror's Edge 2 later this year, and we're inevitably going to get Call of Duty with more of that movement. So what can Titanfall do to one-up that, to make it feel super fresh without going so overboard that it feels too kitschy and too blah, and just like this mess of futuristic fluff? What can they do to the movement system? What can they do to the gameplay system to keep it on the cutting edge of shooter design? And then lastly, just what do they end up doing with sort of the online, and is there going to be any co-op? Is it all going to be competitive? How does the party system play out? I would love to see if single player, personally, for me and for me alone, I would rather single player be a completely solo affair. I think that allows them to have much more authority over the level design and over the set pieces and over the story. But for a broader audience, I'm sure people would love to see co-op in the single-player campaign. I'm sure they'd love to see a built-in horde mode from the beginning, something like that allows players to play together, and then a nice set and slew of multiplayer competitive modes to really flesh out this package. If they can deliver sort of the Assassin's Creed 2 to Assassin's Creed 1 for Titanfall, I think it'll be an absolute home run. You think about Assassin's Creed 1 that really had the assassin idea and some of those mechanics and that concept nailed down, but was very limited in scope. And then AC2 really blew that up, took us to Rome, and just blew our minds, and still I think is the best in the series. Titanfall 2 has the chance to do exactly that, because they're in a very similar situation with a fresh franchise that did really well and now can do even better with more money, more experience, more time, and hopefully more awareness and smarts behind it. I think Titanfall 2 is going to be one of the best games of 2016 and probably end up being the best shooter. Super excited for it. Cannot wait to play on June 12th. I will be there at the EA event in Los Angeles. Hope to see some of you there. Let me know your thoughts on Titanfall 2, what you hope to see from it, what you're excited for, what you're worried about, and we'll cover more of this as we get closer. Until next time, though, guys and girls, thanks so much for watching. I love you so much. Drink some hot shot. Have a fantastic day. Prepare for Titanfall the second time, and we will see you all later.